On this episode of MythBusters,
Am I really that ugly?
Adam and Jamie face a freaky face-off fable. Can a pullover mask
It's party time.
be used to pull off a Mission Impossible style identity theft?
That's weird.
Meanwhile, Kari, Grant, and Tory take aim at two ballistic myths.
Are you feeling lucky, punk?
First, can a trick shot shoot a gun along the ground? And second, would a Hollywood bullet really blast a merry-go-round
Make my day.
into a spin?
Now, it's the scary go-round.
Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage.
Big boom, big boom.
And Jamie Heineman.
Surrender your candy.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience. Joining them, Grant Imahara,
Decapitation hazard, everybody.
Kari Byron,
Ding, 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 chow time!
and Tory Belleci.
They're gonna fry my brain.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
I'll bet they're wondering who we are.
Yeah.
We're the story. Allow me to demonstrate. Remember in Mission Impossible when the characters would wear these hand-sculpted full pullover head masks in order to pretend to be a completely different character in order to breach security?
That's what we're gonna test.
Yeah.
In the iconic 60s TV show Mission Impossible, a number of storylines depended upon handmade masks to perpetrate identity theft activities. On screen, the pliable, realistically colored material is supposedly enough to fool security guards and even colleagues. But Adam and Jamie want to know if it's possible in real life.
You want to hear my methodology?
Shoot.
All right. The masks we were just wearing are made by SPFX Masks, and they make the creme de la creme of silicone, super realistic, full pullover head masks. And they work old school. They will make us a pair of masks working solely from photographs, exactly the technique used by the agents in Mission Impossible.
Well, you know, there's more to this than just the masks. We not only have to look like each other, we have to be able to act like each other.
You're suggesting we get acting lessons?
Isn't it about time?
I think it is. That's perfect. Let's do it.
So first up, let's meet the ugly mug maestro who'll be helping Adam and Jamie pull off this mythical face-off.
Now line up and give me 20.
Now, Rusty and his team have built a business making exactly the kind of super realistic pullover masks that this myth is all about,
These are great.
which makes them the perfect shop to make masks for Adam and Jamie. Wouldn't you agree?
Their hands-on techniques do match the old-school methods of the Mission Impossible myth. But making an out-of-this-world monster mask is one thing. Recreating a human face accurate enough to fool a security guard is a different beast altogether.
Oh, these are pointy. That's a very attractive feature.
To make sure Adam and Jamie's masks don't end up with freaky, pointy features,
Turn to your left.
step one is gathering accurate data to work from.
Okay, Jamie, we're gonna measure your cheekbones.
And with those numbers and pictures as reference, it's over to special effects artist Jim, who sculpts an anatomically accurate clay bust as the foundation for each mask. Next, they create fiberglass molds around those clay forms, which, when hardened, look like this.
This is my mold. Pretty soon they're gonna put this together and pour silicone in it, and you'll have a duplicate Jamie.
Once the silicone is set and popped from the mold, the basic canvas for each mask is complete. Now it's time for the texture, detail, and color.
Everybody thinks of skin as just one crayon in the box, when in fact it's composed of a whole bunch of colors, and it's one of the most difficult paint jobs. This guy will take between 6 and 10 hours to get right. It's weird.
This is my half-finished mask. It doesn't look like me much at the moment, but put some hair on it and a beret, You're going to be surprised.
And what's more surprising is how much effort goes into making our Hoosier hirsute, because the follication is done hair by painstaking hair.
The hair on my mask is actually real human hair, and it's punched into the silicone one follicle at a time. It's very time consuming. Just the front, the beard and eyebrows, takes 3 days. The whole head, a week. Now, you're gonna shade me, right? Okay, good.
While Adam and Jamie's faces are being finished, Adam and Jamie head back to the shop to learn to be Jamie and Adam. And to do that, they're in the hands of a legend.
Our acting coach is Tory McGovern. He's been acting for 40 years, and he's been teaching acting himself for 15 years. Film buffs might recognize him as the teacher in American Graffiti. He was also the voice of the Sand Trooper in Star Wars, who said, "These aren't the droids we're looking for." His job today is to teach us the art of impersonation.
Yep, Terry will be coaching Adam and Jamie on how to mimic each other's voice and body language.
First thing I want to do is observe how Jamie and Adam behave. We'll do a little walking, a little talking, and I'll observe how they do those things. What gestures they use, the tone of voice, the level of their voice. You have to see them animated. You have to see them passionate, explaining what they really like or what they really hate.
And with Adam, that takes no time at all.
That was easier than I thought it would be.
But Jamie's a tougher nut to crack.
And how would we know then that you're angry?
I don't think you would.
Are you angry at me right now?
No.
Okay, just checking.
Okay, judging from the title Firearms Force and the fact that you guys are packing heat in the blueprint room, I'm guessing we have some shooting in our future.
Yep, and a lot of it. We're testing 2 myths about bullets doing work.
Like killing bad guys?
No, what we're talking about is bullets doing physical work, something moving when you shoot it.
Like what?
Well, the first one is a classic gun myth, where 2 guys are in a duel, one drops his gun, reaches for it, and the other guy shoots it across the floor just out of reach.
But can a bullet really impart that much force?
Exactly. The second myth comes from the movie Shoot 'Em Up, where Clive Owen shoots a child's merry-go-round to get it to spin.
I think we should start with that one. I've always wondered if that was true.
In this shoot-'em-up scene, our hero stymies a sniper by firing a round into a merry-go-round. And supposedly the force of the bullet spins the target out of harm's way. But is the propulsion down to physics, or is it just cinema spin?
So when we test these myths, I think it's going to be important for us to duplicate the circumstances exactly as they appear in the movie, which means distance to shooter and type of gun. Then we go for it.
If that doesn't work, let's step up the firepower.
Well, then we should definitely ramp down the friction of the merry-go-round by using some lube.
So to complete the scene, we need some props. The gun from the movie, a Glock, a merry-go-round, and a shooting range.
Well, let's go. For our Firearms Force myth, we've come out to the Richmond Rod and Gun Club so we can find out if a handgun has enough force to spin a merry-go-round.
And speaking of merry-go-rounds, they've brought their own.
Okay, lubrication might help some of the friction so that we can get a little better spin on this.
With the carousel lubed and level,
Perfect.
Real nice.
and the safety railings in place, it's playtime.
All right, that's it. Let's see if it works.
But before their roundabout becomes the most dangerous play equipment in history,
Oh, it's just like childhood. It's super dangerous and I feel like I want to throw up.
first, some science of spin.
Now, the challenge with this experiment is that the energy from the bullet's impact has to overcome the merry-go-round's inertia. Inertia being the resistance to movement. And that is based on the mass. And this thing weighs over 500 pounds. That's a lot to overcome.
So it's over to Grant using the force gauge to find out exactly how much resistance the bullet needs to overcome.
Okay, 8.6 pounds. I don't know. We'll see.
To monitor the merry-go-round, Grant adds a gauge, so if the gun gets any spin, they'll know. And speaking of firepower,
To test this myth, we're going to start out with the gun from the movie, the 9mm. And if that doesn't work, we're going to tap into the entire MythBusters arsenal with more and more powerful firearms.
that's the plan. But first, it's down to the movie weapon of choice, the Glock.
Now, it's got a muzzle energy of 383 foot-pounds and a muzzle velocity of 1,300 feet per second.
Remember, the more mass, the more inertia an object has. So at 500 pounds, the merry-go-round has a lot of inertia. And although the bullet has 383 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, as it flies through the air, some of that energy dissipates. So, by the point of impact, will it have enough remaining kinetic energy to overcome the inertia and the friction of the bearings? The team takes cover as Tory takes the Glock for a spin.
Shouldn't it be spinning by now?
Oh, and that was a good shot, too.
Yeah.
That was a direct hit, and I don't see the merry-go-round moving at all.
So with our first test with the 9mm hollow point in the Glock, we had enough energy to punch through the steel railing and move the merry-go-round about 1/8 of an inch, but it certainly wasn't the spinning around that you see in the movie.
Unlike the movie, it seems the Glock doesn't have the power for a push, so they're switching guns.
So this is the Smith & Wesson 44 Magnum. It has 1,100 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, more than twice that of the Glock. I got just one question. Are you feeling lucky, punk?
And with 500 foot-pounds more muzzle energy, can the revolver make the merry-go-round revolve?
Go ahead, Grant. Make my day.
I don't even know if you need to take a second shot.
So even with the more powerful handgun, we were not able to get the merry-go-round to spin. We got it to move significantly more than the 9mm, about 3/4 of an inch, but that is not spinning like you see in the movie. Now we have one more handgun in our arsenal.
The .45 caliber has 4 times the muzzle energy of the Glock. But will that extra kinetic energy overcome the merry-go-round's inertia?
Good shot.
I don't see it spinning. Hit it again.
Not spinning yet.
Nope.
Yep, it seems that getting this carousel to spin is anything but the child's play of the movie.
So just like the movie, we started out testing this myth with handguns. We tried 9mm, .45 caliber, and .44 Magnum. And so far, nothing has been able to move this merry-go-round very far. Certainly not like the spinning you see in the film. But you know what? We're not giving up here. We got plenty of other guns.
Adam and Jamie are facing off against the myth that wearing pullover face masks and altering your body language is enough to fool a security guard. And so far, they've had their mugs immortalized in silicone. But the masks won't be enough on their own.
Very still.
Cue Acting 101.
Cerebral.
First up, how to be Jamie.
Gestures. A lot of work with the mustache and the beard. Now the voice, okay? Very monotone, very low pitched, very authoritative. I'm excited. This is really thrilling. I used to collect moles and spores.
It's pretty good.
Are we done?
Now, we all know Adam enjoys mimicking Jamie for comic effect.
When I was riding the rails towards the end of the Great Depression, I learned several things from my hobo mentors.
But when it comes to professionally putting the voice,
Fine.
physical gestures, and posture together into a believable performance,
Well, he's positioned so that you can't knock him over.
it's a much tougher assignment. But after a few hours of hard work with our professional thespian,
He uses vocal gestures. By that, I mean sometimes instead of words, he will make sounds.
Right.
Jamie slowly but surely emerges.
I'm just trying to get a word in edgewise.
Yeah, not bad.
Adam's almost there. And while he keeps practicing, it's on to Jamie.
First of all, Adam moves a lot.
With all of Adam's garrulous and expressive character traits demonstrated, Jamie enters his own personal room 101.
You know what? I've had
No, I can't do this.
His innate modesty and discomfort in the spotlight makes the whole process a real challenge.
Let's see.
But in a testament to his sense of humor and perseverance, and Terry's teaching skills,
To do that, you had to break the Jamie stance.
Yeah.
they get through it.
He thinks a lot with his hair.
The recipe for being Adam is pretty simple, really. There's a lot of random movement from the waist up, including his arms. You know, I think you might be right. He's constantly adjusting his glasses, smoothing his hair, and stroking his beard. And he laughs often and readily, and generally covers his mouth with his hands right after. Can I stop now?
You may stop and put your ballet back on.
Okay.
My work here is done. Best of luck to you.
After the curtain comes down and Terry bows out, the newly minted thesps have their handmade masks hand-delivered and get a bit of a shock.
Am I really that ugly?
Oh man, that is frickin' creepy.
Creepy, most definitely. But this isn't a Halloween special. The goal here is security breach realism. And to achieve that, they've got to put together the complete package.
Are you ready?
You know, becoming Jamie is more than just being a century and a half old and having a taste for fast cars and hard cider. Oh no, there's many moving pieces to the puzzle that is James Franklin Heinemann. It starts with the shoes.
Then there's the gray pants.
The trademark white shirt, for which clearly I need some bigger shoulders.
Add shoulder pads, the all-important mask, beret, and glasses.
And then the transformation is complete.
And fake face to fake face, the comparison is impressive.
I gotta say, the clothes make the man, don't they?
They seriously do.
But is it good enough? After all, there are some obvious flaws in this face-off.
The technique that was used to make this mask involves sculpting it over a generic inner mold. That means that every time a different person wears it, it's going to look slightly different. In my case, Adam's head here is a bit larger and fatter than it is in real life, so the masks aren't perfect.
Is that how I stand? Can I all loose and everything?
I was told to be really fluid, because you're always moving. The question here is how far can we actually go towards fooling a mark? We can do things like wear the clothes of the original person, we can act like the original person. Ah! Really loose. We can even distract the mark. So all of those things cumulatively may well have the effect of completing the illusion much better than any individual technique would by itself.
That's perfect. You nailed it. Yeah, that's good.
In Shoot 'em Up, the hero shoots first and asks questions later. But could a bullet really blast a merry-go-round into a spin? So far, the handguns failed to spin the wheel. So now for something a little bigger.
What I have here is our good old standby 12-gauge shotgun. We're going to be firing a deer slug. Now, the deer slug has 2,500 foot-pounds of energy. That's more energy than any of our handguns so far. Plus, the deer slug has more mass than any of the bullets. Now, that added mass and that extra energy will hopefully get this merry-go-round to spin.
Okay, so not only is it not spinning, but you blew a hole clean through it.
Did it spin all the way around and go back to the same position?
No.
Yeah, it's not working, but maybe a bit of bulletproofing will help.
So what's happening right now is our bullets are flying so fast, they're just punching right through the merry-go-round, and we're losing all that energy. So we added these plates. Hopefully that'll capture that energy and make this thing spin.
By toughening up the merry-go-round, more kinetic energy will be absorbed on impact. But will that power a push?
All right, this is 12-gauge shotgun with deer slug, reinforced merry-go-round.
Hey, it moved a little.
The bulletproofing absorbs more of the bullet's energy
Keep it going, yeah! Do it, no!
and withstands Tory's shotgun barrage. But this is about a single impact, and one deer slug only scored 1.5 inches of nudge, which means it's time to bring out the big guns.
This is an AR-50. It fires 50 caliber rounds. They have 13,000 foot-pounds of energy. They travel at over 2,900 feet per second. They're 25 times more powerful than the gun in the movie. If this doesn't spin our merry-go-round, nothing will.
With its massive muzzle velocity, the 50 cal is the most powerful gun in the MythBusters arsenal. A quality they sure have taken advantage of. And now it's the last stop in their ballistic brawn campaign.
Woo!
Despite an impact that separated the half-inch steel plates, the merry-go-round still isn't spinning.
We got it to move, and it moved 8 inches, and that was with one shot.
Yeah, but we're using a 50 caliber with a reinforced merry-go-round, and 8 inches is really not that impressive.
All right, so this one is busted.
Totally busted.
Busted, but there's still more twists and turns to come.
That is some
Yep, this is one crazy, bleeping, double-taken myth. So where to next?
Well, these guys are done and they look pretty darn good.
So how do you want to start testing?
Well, let's say we bring in some members of the general public, people who are familiar with our faces but don't know us, and see if these can fool them.
Okay, but you know what? Before we do that, I want to bring in my dog and see if we can fool her with those masks.
I love it. Let's do it.
Speak.
Now, Jamie's dog Zero is actually a certified therapy dog. She knows tons and tons of commands.
High five. Other high five.
And one of the games they play with her is they go, "Where's Jamie? Where's Jamie?" And Zero runs to Jamie.
Oh, good girl.
That's a control.
I think so.
Shall we get dressed?
Sure.
So the guys suit up and step back into the shop for the real test. Will Zero run to Jamie or fake Jamie?
Where's Jamie? Go get him. Where's Jamie? Where's Jamie?
good girl. Good girl.
And what do you know? Super Pooch Zero was bamboozled.
She's very confused.
It's worth bearing in mind that Jamie's scent pool is covering the whole area. So in these circumstances, the determining sense cue for Zero is her vision. And with the mask and clothing good enough to dupe the dog, Jamie's ecstatic.
I'm a picture of unconstrained joy.
With Jamie pumped up for the people test to come, he takes time out to take us on a tour of M5.
I not only prize cleanliness in my shop, like, a proper station with paper towels and tape measures and scissors, but I actually keep many of the replacement parts for my robotic endoskeleton in this very room. Yeah, over here, that's actually a modified hip that I created back in 1972. I did some work with DARPA, and they actually supplied me with some exotic metal bushings for my ankles and my metacarpals. I could tell the difference in the size of a nut or bolt just by the taste of it. Wow, that's a quarter 28 right there, and I believe it's anodized black. Oh, totally wrong. I guess I lost it.
So with the dog test done, the question is, will it work on a dog's best friend? To simulate a guard watching a building's entrance, our volunteers who know Jamie and Adam, but not personally, will be told their task is to focus a laser on a target.
This is gonna be cool.
However, we'll really be testing their powers of observation. Will the fake mask-wearing Mythbuster in their peripheral vision pass muster?
Here's how it's gonna go for our contestants. They'll start in this room here where Shop General Don is gonna hand them a laser. Then they'll proceed to this line, 90 feet from the target, and on command, they will point their laser at the target, and then they'll stop pointing it at the target, and then they'll proceed to the 70-foot mark. At the 70-foot mark, they'll do the same thing again. Laser on, laser off. And so on. And so on. Now, clearly, this is their last stop. They'll point the laser at the target one last time, and then they'll turn at the end of the test and see Jamie dressed as me. I'll be watching everything from behind this curtain. Go.
So with Jamie in costume, in character,
It's party time.
and in position, the first excited fan is wheeled in, given their instructions, and shown through to the test area.
Here comes our first test subject.
Okay, start.
She sees Jamie. She looks confused.
Next.
She looks suspicious, but she's not saying anything.
Aside from that brief look of confusion, our laser-wielding volunteer, with just the occasional glance across at fake Adam, completes the test without giving anything away.
Stop. Thank you.
But as the real Adam suspected, she was onto them from the get-go.
Just wondering at what point in the walk down that you felt like something was suspicious about him.
Immediately.
Really?
Yes.
Subject number 2 is equally quick on the uptake.
Hello.
Hi. He looks really suspicious right there.
Even though the fans seem focused on the fake test,
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks very much.
Hello.
Jamie's not fooling them at all.
Go.
And the third contestant not only confirms the conclusion, she pinpoints the why.
When you first said go, because you sounded kind of strange.
My voice.
Yeah.
Yep, despite the voice coaching, Jamie still sounds like Jamie.
Go.
And as soon as he opens his silicone-covered mouth,
Stop.
he gives the game away. Question is, can Adam do any better?
Can someone please clean up all this crap in the shop?
Seeing as Adam frequently mimics Jamie, he's confident. But are his Heinemann vocal stylings as good as he thinks they are?
Knock him dead.
Hello?
The next 3 contestants are taken through the test.
Go.
He's focused on that target.
But as before, they keep any suspicions they have to themselves.
Next.
Until confronted by the real Jamie and asked directly.
What tipped you off?
The voice difference.
Stop.
So it's confirmed the voice is the giveaway. But the team haven't yet plumbed the depths of this myth. They're picking the suspect variable and removing it.
Awesome.
So far, Kari, Grant, and Tory have busted Hollywood for playing fast and loose with physics.
Totally busted.
But before they get back on the merry-go-round to replicate the results, the team is gunning for a golden oldie. It's the good, the bad, the purdy. In the movies, a gunslinger manages to nonchalantly blast the gun out of the reach of his prone opponent. But could this trick shot really do the trick? Isn't this just more Hollywood hocus pocus? Before they get down and dirty, they'll need to do a spot of renovating.
So we are back at the range to test the myth that you could shoot a gun and move it and keep it away from the bad guy. Now we're gonna test on 3 different surfaces. The first one is a dirt road, like you would find in a Western. The next one is a paved surface, like you would find in an urban setting. And finally, a tiled floor, something you might find in a public building. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna place the gun on each of the surfaces, fire at them, and see if we can get them to move.
This is our target gun. It's just your basic 9mm handgun. Now we're gonna start using the Glock, and we're gonna see if we shoot at the gun, how far we can skid it across the surface. It's handgun versus handgun.
But before they get shooting, Grant wants to check the friction of our 3 floor coverings.
I'm going to take a quick measurement of the force required to drag them across the surfaces. So dirt is 1.54 pounds. Okay, asphalt is 1.46 pounds. Okay, tile's half a pound.
Unsurprisingly, the tiled surface provides the least resistance, so that's where the team will start.
This handgun's pretty heavy. I mean, it's a couple pounds. I don't think that there's any way a handgun has enough muzzle energy to actually get this thing moving across any surface.
I gotta say our best bet is probably gonna be the tile for the least amount of friction. But you know what? I don't think any of these are actually gonna fly, but I could be wrong.
Yep, after the fake physics on film failed to spin the merry-go-round in real life, it's no surprise they're skeptical of making a gun skip.
Go on, grab that gun. Get it. You're probably asking yourself, why is there a cowboy walking into a hotel lobby with Italian tiles carrying a 9mm? I don't know, it could happen. Maybe it's like a spaghetti western or something.
Shoot the gun away from the bad guy. This is handgun versus handgun, tile floor.
No way! Dude, that is just like in the movies. Wow. It works!
Incredibly, completely confounding the team's predictions. And just like in the movies, Tory gets the gun to skid across 16 feet of tile, well out of reach of Buster the Kid.
3 shots.
Dude, that works really well on the tile.
That is crazy.
With the 9mm making quick work of the tile, it's on to surface number 2. But with a higher friction rating, perhaps the asphalt will put up more resistance.
Wow. Nice. 3 hits, you're almost out. That's it.
Oh my
4 hits. Totally works on asphalt.
That was great. That was like 4 feet per bullet.
Asphalt confirmed.
Even though it took triple the force to drag the gun across the asphalt, it only took 1 more bullet than the tile test.
To cover 16 feet, it only took 4 bullets. That gun skids straight across the asphalt. I did not really think it was going to be that easy.
Yep, so far the MythBusters predictions have been shot to pieces. But there's one more dirty surface to try.
Here we go.
Oh, it moved. Oh my
Wow.
That works so well in the dirt.
So dirt's confirmed.
Yeah, westerns don't lie.
Well, in this case, they don't. Even on the most resistant surface, the dirt, it still only took 6 shots to shoot the gun clear out of reach.
So what we're talking about here is transfer of kinetic energy. Now, the bullet has a certain kinetic energy based on its mass and its speed. It hits the gun and transfers some or all of that. Now, based on the friction of the surface, that might require more or less. Bottom line is the bullet hits the gun and it moves.
Now what we want to do is put the gun back on the most resistant surface, the dirt, and see if we add more firepower, if we can get the same results as we got when we put the gun on the tile using the 9mm.
So with success on all 3 substrates, they're gunning for the dirt to really put this myth down.
This is dirt surface, handgun versus the deer slug.
That's what they call a one-shot wonder. One blast skipped the gun over 16 feet.
That did better than the 9mm did on the tile.
Confirmed.
Cowboy movies actually are real.
I told you, they don't lie.
Yep, in this case, the force of a firearm on film is in fact fact, unlike the merry-go-round. But the team hasn't given up on making that myth move. Next up, they're going to find out exactly what it would take to put the merry-go-round into a spin.
Start.
In Mission Impossible Face Off,
Hello.
it seems you can't fool any of the people any of the time.
You can kind of tell in the voice a little bit.
Well, all of them said the voice is what tipped them off. Next. We're going to eliminate the voice from the next 3 tests. Because Jamie really talks just like this. Nobody knows that. Wow.
So the next batch of test subjects will be subjected to the silent treatment.
Okay, she's got a very mobile face. Let's see if she's got any tells.
As before, fake Jamie will be standing near the target, pretending to note the results from the fake laser test.
Go.
But the instructions will come from cameraman Ben.
Stop.
So far, so good.
Our smiley pink-top testee seems intent on the target.
What's the next marker?
She hasn't found out anything yet. She doesn't have a clue.
But fake Jamie is in clear view, and she can't help but see him. So, as the guard to this building, will our volunteer note our masked intruder is not who he's pretending to be?
Hello.
Hi. That is awesome. You are a dead ringer. That's amazing.
At what point did you finally feel like something was wrong with the disguise?
The first moment I looked at your face.
Like straight on?
Yes, which when I was right here. Yeah. Up until then, I thought you were Jamie.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
And thank you, not Jamie.
You're very welcome.
That's a result in favor of the myth. Despite being in plain view for the whole 90 feet, it wasn't until fake Jamie directly confronted her that she realized it wasn't really him.
This experiment is working exactly as planned. All of our test subjects are totally focused on holding that laser beam on the target. Now, they can't help but see us because we're right next to it, but they're not looking directly at us, and so they're going all the way up until they're right in front of us, and they don't know what's up until they turn around and look directly at us. Throughout the test, you thought this person was me.
Yes.
I think that went well.
I think so.
With 3 from 3, the results are cut and dried. And all that remains is to check if Adam's mask is similarly successful.
When did you notice that something was wrong?
When I turned to shake his hand after the final tests, it didn't look quite right.
Excellent.
This is great. Without the voice for people to cue off of, they're going all the way from 90 feet to 5 feet, believing that the Mythbuster that they're in the room with is me. Right up until the point in which they turn and see his big old head.
So in this scenario, similar to a security guard monitoring the entrance to a building, if you keep your mouth shut, the myth is looking great.
That went so much better than I thought it would. I want to do a little dance.
But now, Adam and Jamie have a much tougher test in mind.
If we leave the voice out of the equation, the masks are actually proving to be quite effective up until the point that the mark is point blank in front of the imposter. But that is with fans, people that know us but don't really know us. Now the question is, what happens if we bring somebody in that deals with us every day? That's weird.
So watching that gun fly backwards was amazing.
Yeah, that result was so surprising that I think maybe we should go back and retest the merry-go-round.
What do you mean?
Well, what if we re-engineer it? We have it so that it absorbs the bullet's energy and it spins a lot easier than it did.
Yeah, because if we can overcome the inertia, we might be able to get it to spin and keep it spinning, especially if we use something that repeat fires.
Hey, this is MythBusters. If it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing.
And first on the list for a little overdoing is the merry-go-round.
Okay, lower it down.
Starting at the bottom, Tory over-engineers the bearing system to give it the smoothest spin.
Now, one problem we were having with getting this merry-go-round to spin was there was too much friction in the bearing system that came with the merry-go-round. So I've switched that out for a couple of flange bearings. Hopefully these will cut down that friction and allow this to spin once we start shooting it.
Meanwhile, Grant and Kari add some armor plating. Not only will these provide targets, they should ensure the optimum absorption of kinetic energy.
Yeah.
And with school out on the renovating, it's back to the playground.
The most dangerous playground ever.
And with a new, improved merry-go-round in place, they can check just how improved it is.
So it took 8.6 pounds of force last time. What do we have now?
Drumroll, please.
Okay, here we go. 0.4.
We've taken off 8 pounds of force. This thing might actually spin.
And to give this recreation their best shot, they're pulling out 3 big guns. Kari will be providing the entree, the main course cooked up by Tory and Grant.
So this is the firepower we're going to be using to try and spin our super merry-go-round. These are 2 semi-automatic shotguns. We'll be firing deer slugs, which have an energy of over 5,000 foot-pounds.
But to kick things off, we thought we'd start out with something just a little bit more powerful. Now, check this out. We have a Barrett 416. Now, with 9,000 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, we should be able to get past that initial inertia and actually replicate the results of this myth.
Yep, and if it wasn't already the most perilous playground ever, Kari has some last-minute set dressing that'll really light up proceedings.
It's not like this merry-go-round isn't dangerous enough. I mean, we're at a shooting range firing rounds at it, but Kari's decided to put barbed wire and a rope soaked in gasoline that she's gonna light before we start shooting. I mean, we get it, Kari. You don't want us to ride your merry-go-round.
Now, it's the scary go-round.
Scary, for sure. But will their excess lead to success? Will the amped-up armory replicate the results seen in the movie?
Here we go. This is Super Merry-Go-Round with almost 20,000 foot-pounds of energy.
It's over to Kari to get the ball rolling, or spinning. And unsurprisingly, 9,000 foot-pounds of energy does finally overcome the inertia of the merry-go-round. Then, Grant and Tory provide backup. With a steady stream of ammo to keep the vicious circle spinning.
That is the most terrifying thing ever! All right, who's going for a ride?
We replicated the results. That's awesome.
Awesome, but still busted. Only by going completely and utterly MythBusters did they get the money shot.
We took everything we learned during the early stages of this myth and applied it to the scary-go-round. We reduced the friction of spinning, we added plates to capture all of that energy, and you know what? It works.
Now, about that det cord swing set.
Yeah, how about the landmine sandbox?
C4 seesaw?
Love it.
Well, those were some mixed results.
Yep.
I mean, when we spoke, we gave the game away effectively immediately, but without speaking, we fooled pretty much everyone right up until they were face-to-face with us.
What now?
Well, I think it's time to move from people who are familiar with us to people who really know us. I think it's time to bring in Kari and Grant.
You know, I've got an idea. What if we invite them over for what we're calling an observation test, and we expose them to you dressed as me, but every time we do that, we introduce a subtle wardrobe change, and maybe that'll distract them enough to pull this off.
I think that's great.
Here's how this test is gonna work. Grant and Kari will be told they're here to participate in a spot the difference test from 5 distances. 90 feet, 70 feet, 50 feet, 30 feet, and 5 feet. From each of these distances, a curtain will rise, exposing me dressed as Jamie on a turntable spinning. Except each time the curtain goes up, I'll have something different about my wardrobe. Curtain down.
I think we're ready.
Cue a confident, perhaps overconfident Kari.
I feel like I should be able to pick differences. I mean, I think I know Jamie pretty well. Okay, raise the curtain.
At 90 feet with no actual changes to Jamie's wardrobe,
Wow, 90 feet is far.
Kari doesn't notice anything untoward. But at 70 feet, she takes the bait.
Well, obviously the orange belt is different. That's kind of crazy town. I don't think I've ever seen Jamie in a different color before.
But before Kari moves to the 50 feet marker, a thought occurs and she pauses.
Is that really Jamie or is that a wax statue of Jamie?
Okay, so Kari's aware something is not quite right.
Oh yeah, different shoes.
But other than the obvious wardrobe changes,
There's a blue hanky in his pocket.
it's not until she's at 5 feet that she's willing to elaborate.
That doesn't look like Jamie. There's some sort of prosthetics or something going on.
And even then, it takes a moment before she's ready to commit.
There's not one thing changing, there is a complete difference that I didn't see at 90, and I thought I saw at 70, but I doubted myself, but at 5, unless he ate some shellfish and he's allergic, there's something going on. I knew there was some trickery.
How early did you catch on?
70.
Really?
I was like, is that a wax statue of Jamie? It just doesn't look right. At 70 feet, I felt like there was something a little weird about the Jamie I was looking at, but I thought maybe he was swollen from a bee sting or something, so I didn't say anything as to not embarrass him.
Thank you, Kari.
Okay, I'm totally horrified by this mask. I mean, it's just, first of all, holding Jamie's skin freaks me out, but wow, this was the weirdest test.
Weird, but very interesting. Despite the distraction of the wardrobe changes, Kari noticed something was off from quite a distance. But she's known Jamie for 8 years, and it wasn't until she was 5 feet away that she was sure. The question now is, will Grant give us a more definitive result?
As far as I'm concerned, this will be a toss-up whether Grant gets, I don't have any prediction. Okay, I have no idea where Grant will discover that it's not me on that turntable.
I've known Jamie for approximately 12 years, and I am intimately familiar with how he looks. And the reason is that he always wears exactly the same thing. Man, from this distance, that looks like everyday Jamie. For the entire time that I've known Jamie, he has always had the mustache and the beret. And the rest of his wardrobe hasn't changed in probably 8 years. All right, well, that's easy. I mean, he's got a fluorescent orange belt on.
As the test progresses, despite Grant's close relationship with Jamie,
those would be the wrong shoes.
He appears to be completely oblivious he's looking at Adam. How close will he get before he realizes?
Okay, 5 feet. Jamie, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, raise the curtain. That's strange. It looks like a wax figure of Jamie. I know it sounds weird. I don't think that's the real Jamie up there.
Yep, incredibly, until you get up close, the mask really does work.
You!
Doctor. You hold this for a second. Gently.
Oh my goodness. Wow! I feel so embarrassed. I've known Jamie for over 10 years, and it took me up until the 5-foot mark to realize that this is not Jamie. Now that was actually you.
The whole time.
That was you the whole time.
That was me the whole time.
This is, however, an incredible likeness. I mean, to the point where, you know, I've worked in special effects for many years, and this is kind of freaking me out, man. You know, could you get past someone, even someone who you know really well, with a mask this good, if they weren't talking and it was just a casual, yeah, go through, you'd make it.
I must say I'm quite surprised. We were able to fool both Grant and Kari. I'm getting the distinct impression that this deception business is all about the circumstances. If you get the right combination of distractions and distance and that kind of thing, you can get away with murder. So how do we want to call this?
Is it possible to impersonate somebody with a full pullover head mask?
Well, I mean, obviously at this range, you're not you. But given enough distance and distraction, I think we're gonna have to call this one plausible.
And creepy.
Plausible it is.
I gotta file this one under Mission Possible.
Nice.